Welcome to another episode of the Read Pile. Today I'm taking a look at One Punch Man Volume 15 and 16. Before I took a break from One Punch Man, because I had been on a roll reading this and Sakamoto Days, but I took a break a few months ago in order to read some other stuff that hadn't come in, and at the time I was like 94.6 of the way through Volume 15, so when I came back to this, I reread the whole thing, and then moved on to 16, and now I'm like a third of the way through Volume 18, so I've been on a real roll the last couple of weeks, which, privately, there was a kind of a conversation with Berg, and he thinks that I'm enjoying comics less on a weekly basis based on my weekly read pile videos, and the counter argument to that is I'm loving One Punch Man, so maybe the US stuff just isn't hitting me quite as well as manga is at the moment. But getting into this, so what had happened where we left off in volume 14 is there is a monster association, and they launched a huge attack on the human world, and they then retreated, and in volume 15 a representative from the Monster Association shows up to the Hero Association and sort of states what they intend, what they want. There's a meeting planned. Anyway, so not all of the monsters retreated, and some of the heroes are still dealing with the stragglers here. But kind of the bulk of the next few volumes are with Garo. And one of the big Saitama scenes in this volume is he has this lengthy conversation with King, but he's talking about he doesn't really have... He's lost his drive, for sure. But he talks a couple of times that he's losing emotion, and he has this thing here. Of course, there's comedic beats where King actually thinks he's talking about his hair. But where is it? I'm losing all human emotion. I've forgotten the pain of losing and the thrill of victory. And King gives him some advice, and ultimately they go home to play some video games. But it's a glimpse into the mind of Saitama, and because he's so powerful, it can be hard to write, and one of the ways that the team gets around that is Saitama is frequently kind of a side character in his own story, and the focus is frequently on Genos or the other heroes because they can lose and there's genuine struggles, and I think that's part of why Garo is such a major player for this arc. Here he's fighting Dogman. Is that his name? Okay, I think it's Dogman. Anyway, this is an incredible fight. I love Dogman. But this is just one of the many fights, and this is one instance where Saitama encounters Garo, and it won't be the last. There's also this sequence with Speed of Sound Sonic and some other people from some other ninjas, I guess, from a different village. It sounds a little bit Naruto-ish, the way that this all unfolds. But basically, they have taken their monster cells and have become monsters themselves, but retained some of their humanity, so they still appear human. But they make the same offer to him to eat this monster cell and become monsters. And they have this monster form. And then they become even more powerful and faster and stronger and all this stuff. So he's given the cell and he decides to eat it. And then what happens is pretty hilarious. But here we've got Zombie Man and a couple of gorilla characters. It's good stuff. And then here is the sequence at the hero headquarters where this guy shows up and he explains what's going on and tells them to send the most powerful heroes in 3 days' time. So there's some time before this arc will wrap up, and then we get into, I think, the setup for this 8-on-1 fight that happens in the next volume with Garo. So that is at the tail end of this book, where all of these people gather outside of this small hut where Garo is recovering from the last few fights that he's been in. And then this kid. Oh, I forgot this story as well. This is good stuff. This scrawny bean sprout. They talk about hero ranking and monster ranking and how things like, not that, what I was just showing. So here he's level dragon, but it's wolf, tiger, dragon, demon, or demon dragon? I forget the 4 rankings of monsters, but all of that gets explained here. And then there's kind of a Piccolo. This guy. It's good stuff. So all of that leads into 16, which I said, I think it's a series of fights predominantly. I think that might be the whole thing. There is a little bit, I think it's Saitama's house. And there's a little bit of these two guys playing video games, but it's initially an 8-on-1 Garo versus a bunch of heroes, and then that leads into a 1-on-1 of Garo versus Genos, and then that gets interrupted at the tail end by Bang and Bomb, and then it's the 2-on-1 fight of them versus Garo, and he just gets increasingly insane and more powerful and badass, and he is awesome. And ultimately I'm very confused where this is all leading, where his storyline is going. In my head, he's going to fight Orochi, which I don't think he's powerful enough to do. But I don't think he wants to join the Monster Association. He does make that claim at one point that he doesn't want to join. They want him, though, because he is fighting all of these heroes. But I don't think their goals align, and I think ultimately he's going to fight Orochi and possibly die. I have no idea. I'm looking forward to finding out, though. There is one volume that we're missing. I think it's volume 23. I've brought this up before, and I'm unclear still whether or not my wife has actually looked for it, and it's somewhere in the house, but not with the other books, or if we need to buy it. But I'm quickly approaching that point of needing the couple of volumes that we're missing so far. 23, 26, I think is the other one, but that's for me to figure out. This is amazing. And then I flew through volume 17, probably finish volume 18 this weekend, shoot another video, and then keep on rolling. So I'm still loving it. It's awesome. Fantastic read. A lot of awesome fights, great comedic moments, and just lots of heart still. Even despite Garo being, I mean, he's not a good guy, but kind of in his heart, deep down, there's still some humanity there, and he's kind of a good guy. Anyway, I'm having a blast. If you are at all curious, this is a huge global phenomenon, so I'm sure you can find, start at the beginning, but you can find these.